This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard to the maiden voyage of some new equipment here on the channel this evening. Glad to have you aboard as we get set to discuss all things Edmonton Oilers outside of the NHL awards currently going on. We'll have hopefully a full recap a little later on this evening once everything's said and done. But for right now, we've got some hard-hitting Oilers news that we got to get to. Just cover it off. Of course, you might have caught that 3 p.m. video from the Oilers fanatic Patrick over there doing his thing on holidays. Unfortunately, lots going on today, and this is when I am getting to it. So my apologies, but we'll get through it, friends. If you're new to the channel, I don't have the graphic right now. Like I said, some new stuff going on in the background. So if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. I would greatly appreciate it as we go into, starting today, what is going to be the craziest next little week of our lives as the Edmonton Oilers take shape a little by little for the 2023-2024 season. All right, without any further ado, friends, we're a minute in and I really haven't told you much. Ken Holland spoke today. There's been a little bit of other news there on Connor Brown and stuff, and we'll break it all down here because simply it's really not a whole bunch of a lot other than the Klim Kostin news today, where it appears that that deal overseas in the KHL seems to be enticing him to try and squeeze every dollar out of the Edmonton Oilers. Right now, the negotiations described as not close between Kostin, the folk hero of the Edmonton Oilers this season, and the Edmonton Oilers organization. So that is a tough blow. However, not necessarily a bad blow for the Edmonton Oilers. If they're going to lose a guy like Kostin, yeah, he means a lot to your team. He scraps, he hits, he does everything the right way, scores goals, you love him. But if he's going to cost too much money, you can find a guy that does pretty much the same thing somewhere else across the NHL. I know there's only one Klim Kostin. We love him to death. We hope he's an Edmonton Oilers still next year. But at the end of the day, if that's not the case, it's oh well, and we move on. And that's kind of, unfortunately, the time of year we're in, right? That's where we find ourselves. Is it's not simply, well, we have time to work this out. No, we don't. If we're cutting ties, is what it is, and we'll figure it out from there, especially if he's got a deal overseas. Adios, amigos, and we go from there. So that's where we're at with Klim Kostin. Nothing really impactful in terms of dollar figures mentioned today from everything I've seen. So nothing to worry about there. If something happens, I'll let you know. But for now, just forget about it and we'll worry about it later, because number 2 on the agenda is, of course, again today, media members, Frank Saravelli in particular, saying pump the brakes a little bit on Connor Brown. It's not a done deal, although I still believe 100% Connor Brown will be an Edmonton Oiler July 1st. It seems like the dollars available to a guy like Connor Brown on the market are kind of enticing this deal of his in Edmonton away from being priority number 1. Now, I still believe it is priority number 1, but dollars elsewhere are kind of making him consider things. And that kind of makes things a little tougher to guarantee that he will be an Oiler July 1st. We are only 5 days away from July 1st, of course. So we got the NHL draft, round 1 on Wednesday, round 2 on Thursday, and then away we go from there, getting into Saturday with free agent frenzy. So ton of stuff yet to come from the NHL. Of course, those are the 2 big hard-hitting pieces of news today. There is, of course, reports as well from Ken Holland that the Oilers will look to bridge Evan Bouchard and Ryan McLeod over the next few years. So whether it be 1 year, 2 year, of course, that's interesting because I think that's just kind of a put it off until the cap goes up when we can pay them real dollars. And they want to win here. They want to be here. We've got RFA rights anyways. You're going to be here no matter what. So you might as well at least take what we're offering and work with it rather than go through an RFA negotiation and try and get every last penny you can. Because wouldn't you rather see the team win than get your payday after the Stanley Cup next year? That is the situation with those 2. And then we move into an update on Jonathan Toews today, pretty much saying that he will not be a day 1 signing July 1st. He's going to take some time. Obviously, we know his health situation isn't necessarily the best. And the Oilers are only interested in Jonathan Toews if he's going to be a full-fledged member of the Oilers, regular season and playoffs, and be able to get through the entire playoffs, because that's his value to us in that event. So that's where we currently sit right now with a guy like Jonathan Toews. Not really sure if that's going to pan out, But if he is indeed going to wait it out and say, okay, my health is good to go, I'm ready to rock and roll, Jim's been good to me over the past 2 weeks, it's now July 14th, let's go. Hey, we're going to take him and we're going to ride with him into the playoffs next season and see what we can get out of a Stanley Cup run next year in 2024. So that, again, nice to see that the Oilers kind of have, right, their number one's options on day one, and then a guy like Jonathan Toews is still going to be kicking around a few weeks later. So hopefully the Oilers are still interested if he does say yes. So that's where we stand on all the big targets and stuff. Like I mentioned, I guess we'll do the Ted Lindsay in this video because I don't know if there's really anything yet out of the NHL awards. I planned on watching them. Obviously, setting up the new equipment today kind of changed the plans, but as it is right now, there's no more news. He did win the Ted Lindsay today, so Connor McDavid, of course, what can you say? An absolutely unbelievable, unreal season from Connor McDavid. So good to see that he gets rewarded with what is another Ted Lindsay trophy, his fourth one of his career so far, which puts him one behind the great one, Wayne Gretzky, for number one all time. So potentially, if he does exactly what he did this year, you will see a tie for first place all time in Ted Lindsay trophies at the end of next season around this time of year. So that's awesome to see that Connor McDavid is, of course, going to be that guy for us at some point here in the next few years, a guy who record breaks, of course, Wayne Gretzky for one of the biggest trophies all time in the NHL. So that's really all there is to it today, other than I will throw a name out your guys' way tonight. It's something that one of my friends back in Crossfield wanted me to mention out to you, is think about the Colorado Avalanche. Think about who we've kind of seen mentioned won't be re-signing in Colorado, and think about the Edmonton Oilers situation and what they're trying to do in terms of upgrading the defense. You look at it and you kind of make out a path here. You're kind of looking, yeah, okay, you got it. You're with me. You're with me here. How about Erik Johnson of the Colorado Avalanche, currently of the Colorado Avalanche, will be formerly on July 1st, but Erik Johnson looking to be a guy available, and my Avs super fan there in Crossfield kind of throwing it my way today and saying, well, like it makes a lot of sense, and you heard it here first. I'm going to say that he's an Edmonton Oiler July 1st. So that's an interesting name to keep tabs on, because Erik Johnson, obviously a late career guy, could pick him up for real cheap, and secondarily too, comes off a Stanley Cup. And hey, what's better than picking up Ryan Murray last year? How about picking up Erik Johnson the year after? Makes perfect sense. I'm kind of making a show of it here, but I do believe there is a lot of value in picking up a guy like Erik Johnson, right? A guy who's won the Stanley Cup, a guy who's been in Colorado a long dang time, and a guy who would bring a lot of veteran presence to your lineup to allow you to kind of offset, keep going 11-7, and offset your Vinny Desharnais in that 7 hole, because obviously we know that Philip Broberg is available on the trading block at current. So if the Oilers defense does go Nurse, Ceci, right? Think about it. Okay. Nurse, Ceci, Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Brett Kulak, Erik Johnson, Vinny Desharnais, or Erik Johnson in the 7 hole, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. And you think too, losing Klim Kostin kind of frees up a roster spot in the top 12 as well to crack that 11-12 mixture. So there's going to be a lot of potential here for the Oilers to sign guys like Connor Brown, guys like Erik Johnson, guys like Jonathan Toews, super veteran, well, Connor Brown not quite super veteran, but super veteran guys who have been around quite a few years, been impactful players throughout their career, and now find themselves trying to chase glory with the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl and company as we go towards the Stanley Cup in 2024. Friends, more to come later this evening on the NHL Awards and breaking it all down, but this evening, that is all I've got for you at current. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.